Oh man, I mean, it's so far back. I don't remember how Alistair came to me because he's the earliest back. I imagine it's just because I was like, oh, like an evil, like, because he started off kind of as a deer because he's got this deer theme. He started as like a deer that was like a cannibal deer, and then it became a cannibal deer demon, and then it was like whatever. And it was because I was a young edgy teenager and I was like, everything's demons and everything's cannibals and everything's evil. But I also really love the Joker, so it was like a little bit of the Joker in there, a little bit Cheshire Cat in there. And then that eventually evolved into the when I heard the "You're Never Fully Dressed Without a Smile" song from the Annie soundtrack, which has this kind of radio filter on it. I was like, that's what he sounds like. So that turned into eventually, all these years later, one of the most popular characters in my project, which is Alistair, the radio demon. And so, like, he kind of, I feel like he's a good example because he kind of manifested as this very childish, like, very edgy teenager fantasy that then became something that resonated with other edgy teenagers and other young adults. So I loved that these characters had, and likewise, I have a story for like all of them. They all kind of came in different places at different stages of my life, and then I put them together in this project that just kind of felt right, and this world that just kind of suited them. And the rest is, I guess, history, as they say. Absolutely. So I grew up Presbyterian, and like, I remember going to church and having a lot of stories. Obviously, being a woman, there's certain stories in the Bible that are a little bit like I just questioned a lot, and I actually based a lot of the show around some of those stories. Like a big one is like the Adam and Eve and like Lucifer and that how he fell and everything like that. So the show actually kind of opens up with the new kind of story of this world and kind of this interpretation of that particular story. So that was definitely an influence for me, just because like that story kind of stuck with me, and I've always kind of wanted to kind of comment on that in my own way, in my own perspective, in this kind of fictional universe kind of adaptation way. But otherwise, I really just liked, like, there's a lot of like different texts and different fictions and different lores around like hell and the afterlife and so many different like faiths. So it's really cool to kind of get to do this fictionalized version of like all of that, and like this adaptation of kind of all this lore that sort of exists already. Oh my god, well, so much of the cast. I mean, so many of the people who read for the show, I was like, oh my gosh, I know that name. Like, I know all these people. So there was so much of that. And then there was also some people that, were playing new characters that I was just like, that's who I have in mind. So we offered the role to, and they ended up taking it. And it was so cool. Like, that was just such an amazing experience for me because, it was just, I don't know, it was just so just incredible to have these people that I was already familiar with, like a part of my universe, playing parts of like these characters that matter so much to me, and I always wanted their voice to sound like them, and it's real. So yeah, that was an amazing experience for a lot of characters. Oh, he brought so much to the role. I Lucifer is actually one of my favorite characters in the show. He's just so fun. He was so fun to write, and I think Jeremy brought the charm that was needed for him, and just obviously is a phenomenal singer. Like literally one of the best singers I've ever heard. He's just a legend in the Broadway world. So it was really, really amazing. I think he's kind of perfectly suited for the role he's playing, in terms of like how grand the role is, but also how fun the character is. Obviously I can't speak super in detail about him yet, but like I really love Lucifer, and I'm really excited for people to meet him. Oh my gosh. I would literally die if anything I was involved in made it to Broadway, or was in a Broadway anything. So yes, absolutely. And it's fun. It's been mentioned so many times about like what would a like live action adaptation be like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such a big idea and concept that I'm like, I mean, someday that would be incredible, but I have no idea. But it really does. Every song like feels like it could be on stage. The songwriters just killed it with that. I hope people take away that this show is meant to kind of just it's meant to be about there, you know, I feel like second chances are something, especially in the social media world and the world we live in, that is something people are starting to lose sight of, and not kind of internalize that idea that people can be flawed and can make mistakes and can grow from them and become better people, and sometimes it's the support and love that they need to get out of those dark places. And I think the show's about that, and it's something that I care very deeply about. And I feel like my takeaway is I want more stories like this that allow characters and people to be flawed. It's why I really love one of my favorite shows is BoJack Horseman, which I feel like is a really amazing show about concepts like that, concepts like, you know, atonement, but also, you know, forgiveness and things like that. So I don't know, I hope people take away that, you know, being kinder to each other and supporting each other and allowing people to grow is a very important thing in this world.